Having supported this football team for close on to 50 years, the one thing I can tell you with all certainty is the only constant you'll ever see is the fans. Fans love their football club, whichever football club it is, fans love their football club. And so, unfortunately, sometimes players come, players go. Now, sometimes we're glad to see the back of them, and sometimes we're really, really sad to see it come to an end. But come to an end it must. So, of course, it's the close season. There's nothing to talk about. And so the rumour mill is turning and turning and turning and pushing out all these stories. So people like me can talk about it, I guess. And the only thing I would say is that I can only give my personal opinion, like I've said in previous videos. And this is my personal opinion. So the rumour has it that Heung is going to move on in the summer. And I have to say, that gives me a really sad feeling inside. But I do understand that sometimes these things have to end. But the question really is this the best time for Sonny to move on? And I guess there's two ways of looking at it, right? The guy has been an absolute brilliant servant to the club. He stuck with us when he was at his best, and there was talk of him moving on to different teams and so on. But he stuck with it. He didn't take on board the pressure of you have to win something. You have to be this trophy-winning player to have any kind of respect. Hint, hint, Harry Kane. Anyway, he stuck with us through thick and thin. He's had probably his most difficult season this season with his injury and his performances and the criticism of him as a player. But he has ended up winning the Europa League, which is the biggest trophy he could probably have won at Tottenham, bar maybe, the Champions League, had we had any kind of real chance at that. So, in my mind, even without the trophy, Sonny would be a club legend, an absolute club legend. But on the same token, with his performances being how they have been and him getting older and so on, could this be the right time for him to move on? Now, Tottenham took the option to have his contract extended for another year, which gives him the whole of next season, and then ultimately he can leave for free. Now, being the legend that Sonny is, I'm wondering whether he's thinking that actually if I take the option to move on, the club would still get some money. And they are talking £25 million, I think, not euros, pounds, I think. But where does he go from here? And I think it would be quite sad for him to kind of end up going to the Saudi League. No disrespect to the Saudi League, but it is not the Premier League. It is not an elite league as it stands. It is not up there with, either the Bundesliga or Serie A or, La Liga or those kind of leagues. So I think for Sonny, it would be a shame for him to end his career somewhere like that. Potentially, I guess the States would be a really good move. Lots and lots of Korean-based fans there. I think it would do a massive improvement for the MLS for sure, because we can see what it's done for Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, we see Korean fans at the stadium, week in, week out. Some are passionate Tottenham fans for sure. Some of them are just Sonny fans, but a lot of the fans that come to the stadium and spend lots of money are proper Tottenham fans, and probably won't stop being Tottenham fans because Son's moved on, much to the distaste of some fans who don't recognise fans from abroad as proper fans. I suppose they don't even recognise fans from around the country as being proper fans, I guess. I don't know. But listen, for Sonny, this is a really difficult scenario in my mind. I would love to see Sonny stay. I'd love to see us move on and build on what we've just achieved and really try and get further silverware and improve our standing overall. I'd love to think that this is the start of a journey rather than a one-off out of the blue kind of thing, which it has been and is at the moment. But I guess a lot of it is about where we go from here, because it would be brilliant to see Son lift the FA Cup, for instance. I think that would be an amazing thing. But does he want to go? Is he looking to go? Is more the question. If Sonny doesn't want to go, then I think the club should keep him for the sake of £25 million. And I know that sounds, ridiculous, doesn't it? It's only 25 mil, but in football speak, it's, in today's market, it's not massive. It's not a massive amount, and it's not going to change the fortunes of the club. But what it does do is it adds more money to the pot. And if Sonny feels that now's the best time to move on, then fair play to him. And I would wish him absolutely the best, because he has been a great, great servant to the club. It all really depends on what's been going on in the last season. Has his performances and his form been down to an injury, or is age catching up with him? I honestly don't know the truth of that. I mean, he's said before that he's in the best form of his life, and and he feels great and all the rest of it. And then not long after that, he was injured and he was out for a while, and they said that this was something that he'd been carrying. So who really knows? None of us really know, unless you're inside the club. Then none of us really know. It's all just speculation about the thing. And this could just well be another story that someone's making up to create, clicks or, shares or whatever it likes, whatever it might be on the internet. So we don't know. We don't know where it is. But the one thing for sure is that at some point, Son will leave the club. And that will be a sad day. But it will happen. It's just a case of when and what kind of legacy he leaves behind. For me, he will always be an absolute legend. I think like I said, his loyalty to the club when he could have gone to other places, his work rate, and the fact that he wanted to stay to win that trophy, to be part of that, to put that final puzzle piece in, as he said. I think he's admirable, and shows what a great guy he is. He's very liked by everybody. Even opposition players seem to love him. The fans love him. He seems such a great guy, and I would honestly wish him well. And I would hope that he will become a proper legend, linked to the club forever. Coming back and doing stuff. And maybe even going on the touring. That they do, there's lots of those things going on, and there's players like Michael Dawson and Sandro and players like that kind of going round doing that, giving those stories out, which are fascinating. If you've never been to one, they are fascinating to be up close to a player that's played the game at the highest level and won medals and stuff. It's great stories. It really is interesting. So I hope that even if that comes, maybe that could be something of the future. I know these guys don't need the money and that these days, but it would be fantastic to meet him in person and listen to those stories. Anyway, I'm waffling on. Apologies for waffling on. But yeah, so that's the story at the moment. That's the kind of biggest one that's going on. His son is likely to leave in the summer. The pitch is that this is to fund transfers and so on. The Spurs need that money and all the rest of it. I think that's just spin. I think they're just spinning out. I don't think we need to lose Son to be able to afford other players. I don't think the £25 million is going to make all that difference. But if you add it in with all the other money that you're going to save in terms of wages on top of the 25 million, and the wages they're saving on the other players that are already leaving and so on, then obviously it all mounts up and gives us the opportunity. But I don't think anyone would want to push Sonny out of the club. I think it would be up to Son to decide if he really, really wanted to go and if he really, really wanted to do something different. And if he does, then fair play to him. And I say, I just personally hope it's not something like the out of the Saudi league. I'd love to see him, maybe go back, even if he went back to Germany and finish his career there. He's a German speaker and he started off there. Would be great to see him kind of have one last hurrah there, maybe. Or like I say, I think the MLS would be a really, really good move for him, and really be a good thing for the MLS. I think, having, Asia Player of the Year for God knows how many years playing there, I think would be pretty amazing. And I think David Beckham would be all over that, because you know what he's like for a good deal. So yeah, that's how I see it. Fingers crossed. I mean, I'd love to see Sonny stay. I hope that is the case, and I hope that he gets his form back and he's over his injury and he can go on and lift another trophy next season. But like I say, if Son wants to go, then I respect that decision, and hope that it turns out really, really well for him, but that he stays connected to this club forever, and comes back to us on regular occasions. So anyway, that's the news from me today. Up the Spurs.